Okay, for your assignment today, you're going to be highlighting the adverb that you see in a sentence, and you're going to underline the verb it describes. Okay, so let's review real quick what an adverb is. Yesterday, we put this in our journals. Adverbs, remember, describe verbs. And what's a verb?
Action.
Action, something you can do. Okay? So like run, jump, kick, play, fly, talk, write. Those are all action words, so we call those verbs. The adverb is telling you how, when, where you do the action. Okay? There's one more category we didn't talk about yesterday, and we're going to add that to our journal. So we're going to flip to the back. Okay, and we're going to put how often. So adverbs can also tell us how often. So how often, so we were going to write down some examples of how often. Adverbs add or describe verbs. So how often means how much you do it or how frequently. Okay, so let's write the word always. Whoops. She always, oh my, can't write today. That says always. She always writes neatly. So always describe the verb writes. She always writes neatly. Constantly. He constantly taps his feet on the floor. So constantly is describing the verb tap, right? How often does he tap? He taps constantly. Okay. Often. She cries often. So the verb was what? Cries. How often does she cry? Often. Okay. Frequently. Frequently. So we could say, I frequently make art at my house. Okay, so I frequently make. So make is your verb, and how often do we make? Well, frequently. Okay, another one would be sometimes. Does anyone want to try to use that in a sentence? Kelsey?
I sometimes write in my diary.
Okay, good. I sometimes write in my diary. So how often does she write? Sometimes. So sometimes is the adverb, and it describes the verb write. Okay. Usually. And just like yesterday, we wrote down a lot, but that wasn't all of them. We're just writing down some examples. So don't look at this list and say, well, if it's not on this list, then it's not an adverb. That's not true. We're just writing down some of them. Okay. Okay. Let's see. We did usually, sometimes, occasionally. We got that one? Evangeline? Yes. Except for often. Always doesn't. Sometimes doesn't. So we did see some LYs.
Can I say the sentence?
A sentence? Sure. Tell me a sentence. I occasionally get picked up early. Good. So occasionally describes the verb picked, right? Picked up.
How does that say?
Okay, never is another one. I never eat vegetables with my dinner because I think they're gross.
Yeah.
Not me. I love vegetables, but that's a sentence. So I never eat. The verb is what? Eat. How often do I eat? Never. Okay.
Never eat.
Okay, let's do one more.
Jump.
Regularly. It's kind of hard to say.
Who's the dude?
Regularly. That means you do it like pretty consistently. Like you don't really skip it if it's regular. If you do it regularly. We regularly do our math warm up when we get to school.
Who was the dude who invented regularly?
Okay, so we regularly do. Do is the verb. Regularly is the adverb. Okay, now let's come up with a sentence that we can write for our example, and then I want you to add one more to your journal. Then we will start our assignment where you're highlighting the adverb, underlining the verb. Evangeline, you got one?
I always never do my homework.
I always never?
I never do my
How about
homework.
just one of those?
I never do my homework.
You don't need both. So I never do my homework or I always do my homework?
Always.
Okay, I always do my homework. So what is the adverb? No, the adverb. Aaliyah?
Always.
Always. What is the verb it's describing?
Do.
Evangeline?
Homework.
Nope, that's a noun.
Do.
Do. Good. Can you homework something?
Yes. No.
Can you homework something? No. So that's not a verb. Remember, a verb is something you can do. Can you do?
Yes.
Yes, you can do. You do lots of things.
Anything you put your mind to.
Okay, so remember, the verb is something you can do. If you say homework and then you ask yourself, can I do? Can you homework? Nope, I can't homework. I can do homework. Well, do is the verb, okay? Homework is the noun, what you're actually doing. Okay, one more sentence I want you guys to come up with on your own. So everyone can have a different sentence, and then I'll let you share some of your sentences with the class, okay? come up with one more sentence using an adverb for how often. Okay, so we had quite a few examples that were shared here in class. Someone said, I constantly yell at my brother.
I yell at my brother every day.
So the verb was yell. The adverb was constantly. How often does she yell? Constantly. Okay, good. Another one was, I often work in the barn. So the verb was work. The adverb was often, describing the verb work. Okay, very good. All right, so this is what you're going to do. The directions are on here. You have an example also. So you're going to highlight the adverb. Highlight the adverb. Make sure you read that carefully because I don't want you to highlight the verb and then you get them all wrong because you've highlighted the wrong thing. Underline the verb it describes. Okay, so the example here, we play hide and seek in the yard frequently. What is the action word? Play. So we underline it. Well, how often do they play? Frequently. So that's the adverb we highlighted. Okay? To me, sometimes it's easier to find the verb first and then figure out what the adverb is that goes with it. Remember, the verb is what they're doing. What is an action word you can do? Okay? Underline the verb, highlight the adverb. Okay?